Hello, guys, and welcome to Restore, Release, and Renew. I'm Leslie Bender, and I'm honored to be with you with the Functional Aging Institute conference, this virtual conference this year. So thank you, Dan, so much, and for asking me to come on board and give you a course. Now, last year, I will say that I had a very fancy looking location. I was at a beautiful Pilates studio, and I'm bringing this to you in my home studio this year, as we had courses going on this weekend, and I wanted to make sure that I got the content to you. So with that being said, my home studio, honestly though, is where I have been training, a lot of clients virtually for the past, it's been a year now. Isn't that crazy to think that we have been in this virtual world now for the past year? And I wonder how everyone is doing. We definitely are starting to open up throughout the country. So by 2022, we will hopefully all be in person again. This course is near and dear to my heart because I feel like this is one of those courses that truly not only you can do for yourself, but also working with your clients as well. It's one of my favorite courses to do, especially at the studio that I work at. We offer one Tuesday evenings, and there's a waiting list for it. So I've got to believe that in our world now, our ever-changing world, that people are truly looking for a modality of restoration, meditation, and overall, wellness and health. And I think the whole premise of, going hard or going home is really starting to shift, because at the end of the day, people are realizing how important their health is. And I think we all know that, especially when we've got our nervous system running on overtime for whatever reason that might be, that we are really running our bodies into the ground. And so it's so important that not only, that you take advantage of self-care. If you have the luxury of having a massage on a regular basis, that's fantastic. But, also being able to do these simple techniques based on myofascial release, really understanding, how it changes the nervous system, and using something as simple as a tennis ball and a foam roller. For me, I've made a lot of shifts in my journey in the fitness industry, which has been well over 35 years. And I was actually awarded last year 2020 Personal Training of the Year for Idea Health and Fitness, which was a great honor, but it certainly came with years of passion and work. And I think, especially for me, those of you that know me, about a year and a half ago, a little over, I had a total knee replacement. And most of that was due to the fact that I trained so incorrectly. And so my other session that I will be doing for Functional Aging Institute this year is HIIT training for the active aging that does not involve jumping, but you can still get your heart rate up, still get a sweat, and not compromise your joints. So these two courses actually are a great complement to each other because they're so uniquely different. So that's why I think in our industry and working with the active aging, and me being in my 60s, I can relate to my clients that are in their 60s. I think a 60-year-old is going to have a really hard time relating to a 30-year-old because they haven't been there yet. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but with that being said, there's so much out there on social media that is being posted by people who are not even certified, and people are getting hurt. So this is where you come in as a movement specialist and somebody who really understands the body. And I can't recommend enough, authors like Stuart McGill, Back Care and Performance, the Gray Institute of Applied Functional Science, of which I'm a graduate, also Functional Aging Institute. Any of these higher level educations truly help us to understand the complexity of the human body as we go through each decade of our life. And, it's you don't really think about, oh my gosh, I'm X this age, but yet time goes by like that. And so you really have to stop and smell the roses, as it is said, to really appreciate each and every day and to never ever take it for granted, right? And I think sometimes we do, and I think sometimes our clients, they're so in a rush to get to the end result that they don't enjoy the journey along the way. So with that being said, let's restore, let's renew our bodies, and I'll take you through a very unique program. So I do have a presentation I am going to share with you for a bit, and then we will definitely get up and get moving. So I think you'll be really happy with this, and hopefully walk away with, a lot of fantastic ideas. So once again, thank you for joining me, and it's, to me, this is just such an exciting program. So really, what how do we define recovery? How do we define recuperation and restoration? How this has all evolved from the science of movement, from the physical, the biological, and the behavioral sciences, and understanding our parasympathetic and sympathetic nervous system that makes up the autonomic nervous system, the role of our fascia, postural issues and injuries related to classes, how it happens, combining the work of functional flexibility, science of movement, and our planes of motion, and again, myofascial release. So our planes of motion and understanding how they truly do relate to where you reach has a chain reaction. For example, if you were just to reach your right arm up, go ahead and do that for me. And go ahead and lean over to your left. But now I want you to just gently pull on your wrist. And as you do that, you're going to notice that your right side body actually I'm going to say engages, proprioceptively becomes different. You feel a different sensation in your body. So again, when we look at the importance of myofascial work, I can't stress that enough. This is a big one. Last but not least, is how much sleep are you getting? Ask your clients, how much sleep are they getting? Because at the end of the day, especially for women, when we are perimenopausal and or menopausal and our hormones start to change dramatically, our sleep deprivation is a huge component of lack of recovery. And I can't stress that enough. And you're going to have clients that come in and, they want to train with you, and you're going to notice that maybe they're tired, and, they're constantly tired, and they're constantly doing, hardcore training day after day after day. So they're not allowing their body to recuperate and regenerate. That's going to lead us to injury, right? So when we look at the understanding the why behind every exercise, as I go through some of these points, that's crucial. Our industry is brilliant at showing you how to do a movement, but at the end of the day, why are we doing it? Who is it appropriate for? And I think that is a big component in my years of training, that I think that's the missing link, that we don't tell our clients, this is why you're doing this movement, and then when they have, then they can take autonomy, then they can take responsibility when they understand why they're doing the movement, right? It's kind of like it's like nutrition. When you're telling, your client that, spinach is good for you, for example, and you explain what's in spinach, all the different vitamins and nutrients and minerals in spinach, for example, then they have a clear understanding, rather than saying, well, it's green, it's good, now eat it, right? So I've used this presentation for bars. So the science of the movements as it relates to all types of exercises, looking at our students individually, making sure all of our students are capable of performing the exercises, and including the rolling enthusiast that loves to be, has, foam rollers, all different kinds. I'm going to use the Rollga today because I love the fact that it has contours and ridges, and I'll explain that later. Okay, why are we not recovering? Muscle soreness and fatigue. I've already mentioned this. Sleep deprivation, increased inflammation, exhaustion, mood swings, cranky, craving carbs all day long, craving caffeine all day long, not being able to communicate, whether it's with, someone else and or spouse or your client is not communicating to you well, and or if you're not communicating well due to the fact that you are running on empty. Sad, you know, depression, and then lack of enthusiasm. So gradual healing includes rest after being ill, injury recovery. The natural way in which our body heals in of itself is a miracle due to the stresses we put upon it. Think about it. Think about, let's just use, for example, someone like Tiger Woods, who's had multiple surgeries, multiple injuries, and this last one is a humdinger. But give him maybe another year or so, he may not be a champion, but I'm going to guess he's going to play golf again. And when we look at the miracle of how the human body heals, but yet we keep pushing it without the restoration and recuperation and regeneration techniques, at some point in time we're going to fail. So we have so many demands upon our life, from kids to work to family and on and on and on and on. And then all of a sudden, we wonder why we break out in shingles. We wonder why our immune system, becomes compromised and we get COVID or whatever the case may be. So what we want to do is we want to add in, you know, these simple techniques that help to change our nervous system and be able to slow down the nervous system, if you will. I mean, just taking a pause, breath and meditation, rest, recovery, and more. So, we have the physical, which is flexibility, recovery, adding in like yoga, for example. The mental aspect of training. Once again, we are very good at telling people what to do, but how to do it and why they're doing it. Why you're in this position is going to benefit X, Y, and Z. And, teaching people how to meditate, even 5 minutes a day. And then the social relationships and family is another component that helps us become whole. So when we look at the parasympathetic and the sympathetic nervous system, all right, and truly, once again, the intricacies of our nervous system, that I think we take it very much for granted, that we take it for granted that our heart is beating, you know, 24 hours a day, nonstop, and we don't question it. But yet, when do we really take care of the health of our heart or our lungs, for example? And how do we do that? Deep breathing techniques definitely affect our nervous system, by slowing the heart rate. Think of what happens, like, for example, if you get up in the morning, you're going 100 miles an hour and you slam down caffeine, and you notice that maybe your heart rate actually comes up slightly, but yet when you go try to do cardio, you're having difficulty getting up to a target heart rate due to the fact that maybe you haven't had enough sleep, you've had too much caffeine, and you're not able to perform at your optimum level. But yet, if you add these other techniques in, then for all intents and purposes, we are going to be able to dramatically affect our nervous system and make it so much more efficient. Understanding our parasympathetic nervous system. Our parasympathetic nervous system is part of the involuntary nervous system that serves to slow the heart rate, increase intestinal and glandular activity, and relax the sphincter muscles. The parasympathetic nervous system, together with the sympathetic nervous system, constitutes the autonomic nervous system. So, how we manage it. Our sympathetic nervous system it has that stimulation of fight or flight response, all right? Short-term survival. So, again, we need that due to the fact that we need to be able to have acute responses when necessary. For example, somebody runs a red light and you slam on the brakes, and you have that reaction to that kind of stimulus, which is completely necessary. But when we're constantly overtaxing our nervous system, that stimulus starts to slow down as we age. So this is why you hear of, older people getting in car accidents more than possibly younger ones, unless, of course, they've been out partying. But for example, here in Florida, one of the things that I know that I've had to do is definitely be a more defensive driver, and I've got to be a more empathetic driver because again, you've got grandma in front of you that's going 20 miles an hour under the speed limit, and her ability, for example, to hit the brakes when necessarily quickly is compromised. So the more that we can nutritionally, emotionally, and spiritually take care of ourselves, then we keep the integrity of our nervous system. So essentially, after a distress signal, for example, car cuts in front of you, the hypothalamus activates the sympathetic nervous system by sending signals through the autonomic nerves to the adrenal glands. These glands respond by pumping the hormone epinephrine, also known as adrenaline, into our bloodstream. And again, if we are running high on adrenaline because of stress, can't stand our job, we're late for work, it goes on and on and on. And when you're stressed out, somebody might just say to you, take a deep breath. Take a deep breath. It's going to be okay. So, what does that have to do with our fascial system? It's all connected. At the end of the day, everything is connected. And notice how you feel. It's very hard to imagine being stressed out, walking along a sandy beach, and you feel the sand beneath your feet and listening to the waves. All of a sudden, you may notice, even with that visual in your mind, that you might feel that your body feels essentially calmer, if that makes sense, rather than, running late to work. Notice how your body would feel as you're sitting in a car, there's an accident in front of you, and you know that you're going to be 20 minutes late getting into work. What starts to happen, to that adrenaline? It starts to pump through the system. You start to sweat, and your heart rate goes up, and you're sitting there going, oh, dear God, I'm going to be late for this client. Let's be real. Versus, again, if you're walking along a beach, you're hearing the ocean waves, and you feel the proprioception of the sand beneath your feet. So our proprioceptors have such an influence as well on the rest of our body. So I find fascia is one of the most intricate, most interesting complexities of our body due to the fact that there's such an abundance of receptors in our fascia. So once again, you're laying down on a massage table and you have the most heavenly massage. You're breathing in essential oils, and you almost have this sense when you sit up out of your massage, and you're sitting there going, oh my God, I feel so calm, I feel so centered, and I feel so balanced. And at the end of the day, very few people get up off the table and go, oh man, I got to go run and I got to go do something crazy. So when we look at our receptors of the Pacinian, Ruffini, Golgi, and mesoneer receptors or corpuscles, for all intents and purposes, the sense of touch dramatically affects what? Think about it, our nervous system. So it all goes so hand in hand, right? So take a screenshot of this. Please feel free to, because at the end of the day, our nutrition does play a huge component in our ability to recover, right? This is the juicer I use. It's maybe around $100 on Amazon. And I will tell you that for me, I juice every day. And between the techniques of the juicing and also what I'm going to show you is how I was back skiing 3 months after a total knee replacement, which is unheard of. Do I still have achiness and scar tissue? Sure, I do. But one of the things I've invested in is infrared light therapy. And for helping the scar tissue, it's really making dramatic results. So that's a whole other topic. But let's talk about our three planes of motion. So we have a tendency to live in our sagittal plane, which is anterior and posterior of our body, which is fine in a way. But at the end of the day, if I'm sitting over a computer in flexion all day long, how is that affecting my fascial chains? Well, the anterior fascial line is going to become shorter and tighter. So then when I go to become more upright, my head is going to go more forward and I'm going to become more kyphotic. So at the end of the day, if I don't look at especially opening up that anterior fascial line, like even reach up to the ceiling right now. And if you lean back slightly and you're still looking at your computer, you're not going to feel that much sensation in the front of your body. But the minute you look up, you feel a different sensation in the front of the body. Neurologically, things switch on different. Again, there's a little bit of a fight or flight there going, ooh, if I look up, I'm going to fall over backwards. But gravity plays such an influence here. So why not capture it and use it to our advantage, right? So with that being said, our frontal plane is both right and left lateral sides of the body. So we've got lateral flexion right, lateral flexion left. Now the transverse plane is that rotational plane where, just by simply rotating, even in a seated position, everybody rotate to the right, rotate left. You rotate from side to side, you're going to notice, even sitting in a chair, and we'll get up and do this momentarily, you're probably going to notice as you rotate right and left that there's a direct correlation that your feet supinate and pronate. Pretty cool. So once again, if I'm trying to restore somebody, and let's say we go into a lunge to lengthen the hamstrings or glutes, but yet their knee is very valgus, then maybe I add a little bit of rotation into that movement, and all of a sudden the knee pain goes away. So we'll discuss that. It's pretty cool stuff. So as I said, our body adapts. So take this into consideration. When we create a conscious movement, we create a subconscious result. So once again, if I'm sitting over a computer all day long, then my fascia is going to adapt to that posture or those stresses, if you will, put upon it. So when we look at the image on the right and the left, all right, tight erector spinae, weak gluteus maximus, tight hip flexors, weak abdominals, that's a large component of our society today. And what do we see people do? We see people laying on their backs doing crunches all the time, and we wonder why we are so out of balance, and we can't be training on the floor and doing flexion all the time when we expect to have better body balance. And again, many people are under the impression if they, do 1,000 crunches that they are going to have a better looking abdominal wall, which is further from the truth. So with that being said, we will be lying on the floor, not doing crunches. So, all right. So if you look at the Rolga here, what is fascial rolling for longevity? Most that I've heard, most trainers, that put their, their clients on foam rollers. I see a lot of athletic trainers, and they use the flat roller or rollers that have ridges on them. Nothing wrong with that, but it's almost the perception that foam rolling is just for athletes. Now, foam rolling or myofascial work is for everybody, unless, of course, your client or you yourself are on blood thinners like Coumadin for arthritis and things of this nature, and you really bruise easily. If that be the case, you can still roll, but you want to make sure that you get a very soft foam roller while doing this. Now, what happens when you roll and you add in meditation and mantras, which we will be doing today, it makes such a difference, guys. Then your clients are not going to associate being on the roller and making that association with pain. Because many times when we talk about bringing out a foam roller, we'll say, all right, guys, we're going to roll. People don't want to do it because they don't enjoy it. But teaching them the importance of the breath and how the breath is so crucial for massage work, because right when they start to get into areas that are very sensitive, what do they always tell you to do? Take a deep breath in every single time. a very, very, acutely aware massage therapist is actually cueing you through the massage. And I love that because it really does help you to get through, especially a deep tissue massage, right? So it should be done slowly and focusing on tender areas or sensitive areas. And you actually want to stay on that for a moment, for about 10 seconds and breathe. Again, that message of breath and why you're going to feel better is incredible. These are just some pictures showing some of the different, some of the different movements that we do with a foam roller, different areas that we can target with our Rolga. Again, I love the Rolga because it has contours in it versus a flat roller. I use both, but for me, it just makes it so much more enjoyable. And the other thing that I like to use too, which once we get up and move, that I highly recommend, is that you will need a foam roller. And of course, you can always watch this later. A foam roller, a tennis ball, a yoga mat, and finally if you have essential oils. Because again, think of all your senses. Think of all your senses. We've got the sense of touch. So we're going to dramatically affect the proprioceptors here as we go through the movements, right? Think of touch. What's another one? The sense of sight. Sometimes by closing the eyes during foam rolling helps one to relax. All right, sense of sight. Sense of smell is a big one. Think of when you do smell something pleasant like lavender, if you like lavender, that is, and how does it affect you? Like if I smell lavender and I breathe it in and I'm doing meditation with lavender, pretty much the last thing I want to get up and do is go do cardio. Let's put it that way. Versus if something else, like maybe a citrus smell that is more spicy, is going to awaken you more. There's many different lavender companies that are lavender oil companies out there that are fantastic. So I would just make sure that it's organic and homeopathic. So again, the physiological changes in your body through the relaxation response, which is an involuntary yet predictable response of our nervous system. Think about it. What have I been talking about? Massage techniques and touch. Mechanical responses, which are physical effects that occur in the body when pressure is applied to what? Our fascia. Pretty awesome, isn't it? Even just light touch. So for example, let's do this. You're going to just go ahead and just turn your head to the left, turn your head to the right, turn your head to the left, and turn your head to the right. And I want you to notice, like, my head going to my left, but your right is tighter. Part of the reason for that is I am a right foot in front water skier. So my neck is always tighter on this side, but yet my back is tighter on the other side. So this is what I want you to do. You self-select which side you want to do. So what you're going to do is take your hand, all right, and I want you to just kind of grab your upper traps, all right? So I want you to just give them a squeeze, not painfully, but just then release. Squeeze for a moment and then release. But this last one, I want you to take a deep breath in as you squeeze. Now exhale, let it all out. Now release your grip. One more time. Squeeze with a deep inhale. Grab that tissue. Now exhale. Now rub. So if you have long fingers, be careful. Rub with the pads of your hands. And now give yourself a little pat here. A little pat. And then pat on the deltoid. Pat back up on the shoulder. All right, good. That side of your body is going to be tingly. Again, turn your head to the left, to the right. Huge difference. How long did that take? You want to do both sides? Yeah. So once again, as you give yourself just a gentle squeeze, take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Again, squeeze with an inhale. Exhale with a release. One more time, squeeze. Imagine if people did this all the time while they're sitting over their computers, and we just did this maybe, I don't know, start to rub like every hour on the hour. People would be more productive. They'd be more relaxed. They wouldn't be in such hyperdrive all the time. And now pat the deltoid, pat the back, like give yourself a pat on the shoulder and say you're awesome. And then a rub. You turn your head to side. For me, my range of motion feels 70% better. So again, simple technique that affect the proprioceptors. Okay, so here's your oil. And there's so many different oils that are out there now, as we all know, CBD oil, hemp oils, they're discovering the benefits are so great. Of course, we've known it for years. But with that being said, is how it does decrease pain. But so does, again, that attention to smell, that attention to that lavender smell. Again, this is all the things that I did during, at least 2 days after my knee replacement. And I made the decision not to take oxycodone because, first of all, it made me feel like crap. And then second of all, I know that I have a very addictive personality. God knows I like to clean, OCD. But for me, I could see what would happen if I got addicted to it. Am I going to be one of those statistics that can't get off of it? And I didn't want to be one. So oil is a great replacement. So again, when we teach breathing, and that deep breathing technique is breathing in through the nose, out through the mouth. Breathing in fresh oxygen, exhaling carbon dioxide. It should be never restricted or forced. And by deep breathing, closing your eyes for a moment, and you're trying to do something on the computer, you've got another client coming in, you've put in a 10-hour day and you're totally drained. Let's be honest here. Once again, deep breathing, focusing on what it is you want to accomplish. For example, I am relaxed now. I am centered now. Whatever the case may be, when you start to add that in and you teach your clients how to do this, the miracles start to happen. So, where we will begin is using just a simple tennis ball underneath our metatarsals in the mid-tarsal joint, finding areas of sensitivity, working through the arch of the foot to the heel of the foot. And again, through all of this is reminding yourself, me reminding you to breathe. Now, the beauty of what I love about this particular course is, because I'm not using music, is that I encourage my students when I teach them, when they take this course from me virtually, is I say, make sure that you're muted, which most of them are, and put on the music of your choice. I wouldn't recommend the Rolling Stones because you're not going to relax to it. That's the other thing, is the sense of sound. Even if it is, I wouldn't, meditative music is wonderful. The sound of Om is wonderful. All these different sound and vibrations are affecting what we hear. And even the sound of Om creates vibration all the way from, the solar plexus all the way up to your head. So our mindful program of wellness is this. So really, at the end of the day, what we want to combine is mantras, movement, meditation, and very specific movements to gain specific results. All right. So one of the things that I always start my class out with is I like to start with setting the emotion. So when people come in and they and I'm a very energy sensitive person, let's put it that way. It's a 7:30 p.m. class, and then I also do it at 4:30. And when my students come in, their energy is up here, their vibration is up here. They're just like da, 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 da. And by the end of the class, and it happens every single time, the energy shifts to here. Now, we all have this ability. It's just whether or not you want to tap into it. And it, again, this is not something that you can learn in a textbook. This is something that you have to experience yourself and have the what do I want to say? Having the open mind to knowing that you have the ability to help people change where their vibrational level is when they come in to see you. Now, are you going to necessarily use these techniques if you're going to do a HIIT class? No, it's a totally different ball game. But am I going to suggest that you do this 2 to 3 times a week? Absolutely. Because again, if we're just going into that HIIT hardcore training, then we are not tapping into a very great resource, of whatever you want to call it, spirit, divinity, or whatever, that helps us to restore, if that makes sense. All right. Think about it. Why do you think people go to Sunday service all the time? They're going there because they're trying to do what for their spirit? They're trying to renew their spirit. They're trying to restore their spirit. But yet, then, afterwards, then they go to Kentucky Fried Chicken. Don't get me started. All right. So thank you for attending this. And the rest of the course today now is going to involve movement. So I will give you a moment because I'm going to end the slideshow here. And we're still recording, which is great. And yeah. Okay, so I will suggest, and one of the things that I did get through COVID for me, which is pretty exciting, is the I Am Ageless Now publication. I'm a published author with Melody Marlar, and it's 10 minutes a day to transform your life. As a matter of fact, we do 30-day transformation programs because each and every day, if we adopt or adapt to something that we are going to change, whatever that might be, it might be something as simple as I'm going to, choose to take a certain, let's see, like a certain thing that you're eating out of your life. Like I've been plant-based for over 35 years, and it's funny, some people are just now getting turned on to plant-based nutrition. And I actually had friends that used to laugh at me and go, "Oh, you're one of those vegans," and now they've got a program on it. So it's funny how people do shift, but people shift. It's kind of like the teacher shows up when the student is ready, right? And so at the end of the day, and being willing to give something up, you're going to gain so much better. So it might mean that you give up the thought process of going, I got to kill myself to have a great body. How about having the thought process that I need to restore and renew to have a healthy, functional body? And on that note, let's get started. All right, so make sure that you hydrate really well. Hydration is part of restoration. And what I love to do is I have a nice thick glass cup, and I love putting in 3 things that keep to me very hydrated. And I love the taste is lemon, lime, ginger, and then when I feel really ambitious, I throw in a stalk of mint. All right, so once again, if you have some essential oil, and I already rub some on my hands, so I'm good to go. What you're going to need for this program: a yoga mat, a tennis ball, or a therapy ball is great, foam roller. I'm using my Rolga. And I guess I forgot to mention too is a small ball, like my Bender ball, even better. Woo! Or a pillow will be fantastic. So the first thing that you want to do, I would like you to really just follow along right now as a student so that you have the opportunity to sense and feel this in your body, okay? So that you feel it in your body, you're really going to be able to share it with your students. All right? Sound like a plan? So let's go ahead and begin by grounding down through all four corners of our feet and grounding down into the earth. Now, as you know, our bodies are energy. The earth is energy. And so sometimes when we hear grounding down into the earth or grounding down, helps us to make that connection with, with Mother Earth, with our earth, if that makes sense. So with that being said, just notice how you feel in your body right now. Is there any discomfort? Is there any restrictions? Do you feel tightness anywhere? And if you do, pay attention to it. First of all. Second of all, we always start our mantra out with, I now release and let go all thoughts, emotions, conscious and subconscious, which are not for my best good. So, with that being said, you want to say your name, and I'll say Leslie Bender, now release and let go all thoughts and emotions, conscious and subconscious, which are not for my highest and best good. So you want to repeat that to yourself. And now release and let go. Just put it out there. And the beauty of this is, because if I'm standing here going, man, God, my knee hurts. Oh my God, my knee hurts. My attention is going into my knee rather than saying, I now release and let that go. Then you're opening the door to opportunity of restoration that is designed just for you. So I want you to almost feel like you watching with me right now is very personal. All right. Make this about you right now. So again, you can share it and, pay it forward to your students. Now, here comes our breath. Take a nice big cleansing breath up, inhale. Reach up to the ceiling, spark all 10 fingers, right? And look up. Notice how the front of your body starts to lengthen against gravity. So our focus is opening the center body and then slowly start to go into a forward fold. As you forward fold, have a nice soft bend to your knees, but be cognizant of which side of your body you would like to give better attention to. Mine is going to be this side. So now slowly start to roll up one vertebrae at a time for 4, 3, 2, 1. Great. So now I'm noticing that this side of my body needs more tension than the other. So what I want you to do is, if you have that lavender in your hands, right? Or if you have oil, that's great. If not, I want you to rub your hands together, okay? I know this sounds crazy, but this is energy, and energy work is really incredible. And you have the power to do this. Just rub your hands together and then just take your hands on each side of your leg. And I want you to actually feel the heat coming off of your hands, and almost as though, you feel a tingly sensation up and down the leg, all right? Because that's where we're going to start. Now we're going to take our tennis ball underneath our toes, okay? And I want you to go ahead and place your heel down on the ground and open up your toes, just as it did in the presentation. Now, from here, what you're going to do is take a deep breath in. And again, the more you breathe in that wonderful sense of lavender, it will help you to, again, allow restoration to happen. So breathe in and breathe out. So each time, I want you to think of flexing your toes and opening your toes. Now, if you were thinking to yourself, gosh, I really want to share this with my mom, but she has bad balance, she can always do this sitting in a chair. So curl your toes and open your toes, curl your toes and open your toes, working in between each metatarsal. So what this does is it kind of allows the foot to move authentically, and it just also feels great. Now, let's start to scrub our fascia a little bit. So I call it scrubbing or rubbing, all right? So just feel the energy again in the foot, just by this sense of touch from this tennis ball is incredible. Now, let's compress down and then release. Take a deep breath in, inhale, exhale, compress down, and we're going to hold it for just a moment for 4, 3, 2, and 1. That compression hit that tender spot, and let's do it again, but this time I want you to breathe. I now release and let go. And now let's rub again. So from your heels to your toes. Good. So now let's go ahead and step off. Reach to the ceiling again. And as you go into that forward fold, automatically feel the difference between the right and left side. And feel the difference energetically from the right and left side. Now we're going to make it even better. Take your hands on your calf and rub. Just rub vigorously. Now take your fingers on each side of your shin. Now behind the knee where there's the popliteus, the insertion of the hamstring and calf. Now rub vigorously and take your fingers in between your hamstrings, all right? So feel like you're splitting them a bit. Now, tap. Tap the calf, tap the back of the leg, front of the leg, side of the knee, and rub vigorously, all right? And now slowly bring your hands up and down your leg. You're gonna feel a tingly sensation, I guarantee it. I mean, I just feel like this side of my body I feel like I just got a little teeny electric shock. So again, as you go into a squat, feel the difference between the right and left side. It's insane. Now, arm side, alternate right to left, and just by lifting your foot up, you intuitively start to feel better balance on each side of your body. So again, imagine doing this every single day. Oh my gosh, let's do the other side. So once again, we're just creating an energetic balance in our body. Start to rub your hands vigorously. All right, rub them. All right, and then just go ahead and feel the energy up and down each side of your other leg, whichever one you're choosing, and feel that work. Place the ball down on the ground. Once again, breathe in that essential oil. And we're going to place our heels down and curl your toes or flex your toes and open your toes, working through each metatarsal. At the end of the day, think about the human body is comprised of millions of cells, you know, all independently, but yet dependently working with each other. And we don't question it. It's almost like the solar system. We've got all these planets that are all working together, but yet they are separate from each other. And I guess where I'm going with this is that how unique it is that we can just be flexing and extending our toes, but yet we feel, due to our nervous system and our fascia, we start to feel a difference up in the body, right? Let's start to scrub under the bottom of the foot and create that friction underneath our feet. And again, if you've used oil, breathe it in. It really does help. And then we're going to do a compression right in the center of the arch. And the beauty of this too is reflexology. So different areas of the foot are in direct correlation with some of our internal organs. So let's just say, you know, you yourself or your clients might have an issue with constipation. Massage the left foot. All right, let's rub vigorously again. And this time we do our compression. I now release and let go. And go ahead and step on off. Take a deep breath up, inhale. As you exhale, nice soft bend to our knees, going into our forward fold. Now, from here, what you want to do is take those hands on each side of the calf, have a nice soft bend to the knees. Your thumbs are on top of your shins. Get in there and rub. Now rub the hamstrings, rub behind the knee, rub again, just really like create that friction in your fascia. So it's cold, but we're heating it up. At the front. All right, hands are here, roll up, one vertebrae at a time for 3, 2, 1. How do you feel? I want you to just now notice that you almost feel as though you're almost more grounded, but yet electrically you're more energized. I mean, it's almost like you have better sensation now from your feet, that you have better absorption in your feet. Even guys, if you only do that every day, you will feel a dramatic change in your body. But let's go ahead and get moving. So what we're going to do is set our roller to the side, take the tennis ball out of the way. We will need it later. Let's go ahead and take a nice wide stance in our leg with a nice soft bend to our knees. Now we're going to reach our arms up, inhale, And as you exhale, I want you to take a nice soft bend over to your left side. Bring it back to your center. Take a nice reach over to your right side. The thing about restoration that is also really important is to start lengthening the tissue. So as you lengthen, it's slow, it's controlled. Nice wide stance. The more abducted we are in our legs, the further we can actually move our thoracic spine. So let's go ahead and reach up with our right hand and give it a tug. Now give me a gentle pull. Nice deep breath in here. Exhale, reach and lengthen. Beautiful. One more time. Reach and lengthen. Back to your center. Let's do the other side. Reach and lengthen. Big, nice, big pull here. Giving that fascia some love on that lateral side. Bring it back to your center. Hands are here. Let your head float forward and then roll up one vertebrae at a time. Now from here, all we're going to do is let's take that reach over. And now let's go ahead and turn all 10 toes facing forward. Our goal right now is to lengthen that posterior calf in our sagittal plane. So I'm going to invite you to reach forward. Feel the calf lengthening. Now let's go ahead and reach up. Okay, now feel your anterior hip. Now here comes the beauty. Look up and you're going to notice that your hip actually lengthens more. So again, that complexity of our nervous system is the sense of sight and how it's dramatically affecting the chain reaction here. Now reach forward and now lean back, sending your arms behind you, feeling a nice big lengthening in your hamstrings. Let's go ahead and reach right back up again. So again, you've got a nice flat back or extended spine. Reach up, hinge forward, and lengthen back to feel the hamstrings and glutes. Reach up again, beautiful. Open all the way up, and give me a nice soft bend of those knees. Now I want you to feel the difference between the right and left side. So the right side, the right ankle should feel like it has freedom of motion to it. So let's go ahead and balance things out. Let's reach over to our other side, lengthening our side body. Deep breath in, deep breath out, and lengthen. Now turn all 10 toes forward. And as you start to reach forward, feel that calf lengthen. Beautiful. And now reach below the knee. And as you reach the ceiling, challenge yourself to look up. By the way, great for balance exercises. Reach down, lengthen the hip. And now reach and lengthen and look up and feel that. With all 10 toes forward, you're going to feel that posterior lateral line, that deep fascial line, lengthen. But the minute you turn your foot out in warrior, great movement, it's not going to get to the calves. But let's bring all 10 toes facing forward now. Now from here, what we want to do is take your right foot out to the side. We want to start to move into our lateral hip a little bit. Arms go to the side. You're going to cross behind. So you're creating internal rotation of this hip. Now, let's talk about where you reach. You can reach to the knee, but if you start to turn your head and look up, all right, and you use this as balance, I want you to notice what you just felt in that hip. It started to lengthen, it started to move. So again, you've got a nice big reach, toe tap back out. Big reach, open, and back out. One more time. Reach and lengthen, back out. This one we're gonna hold. So you go into a really gentle twist here. You start to open up, you look and you open up the front lateral line and then bring it back to center. By the way, that was all 3 planes of motion. So let's explain it. Toe tap out to the side, cross behind. Basically, what plane of motion are we in now? Transverse. You start to hinge and rotate. We're now in frontal and sagittal plane. And now bring it all the way back out. Let's do that again. The reach and the look is to just kind of get your body moving a little bit before we actually go into rolling. All right, deep breath in, deep breath out, and bring it center. Good job, guys. Now from here, let's take our foam roller and place it right in front of us. Now the work begins. That was the appetizer. Now we're going to reach our arms up with an inhale. As you start to exhale, start to fold. So nice soft bend to your knees, all right? And walk your hands out in front. Now, if you've got cranky wrists, come down to your forearms. Because otherwise, we want to find ourselves in a down dog. And I always tell my students, in a downward facing dog, or even on your hands and knees, for example, and you're just in this relaxed or even down here position, try to enjoy it. Just try to let gravity do its thing for a moment. and allow your spine to decompress in the opposite direction that it is normally in 24/7, which is upright or slouched over. Okay, so if down dog isn't your thing, that's where I want you. All right, we're going to begin by placing the roller directly in front of our thighs. Now, we're going to come down to our forearms. And once again, it's recommended, keep drinking water. It's very hot here today in Florida. It's about 90 degrees. And I'm sure it's all of that in my studio right now. Okay, so find a spot that feels a little bit cranky or, sensitive. I'm going to use the word sensitive. Take a deep breath into that oil. And I want you to just try to allow your legs to be heavy here. Allow your body to feel heavy. You are engaging your core every time you exhale out. But I don't want you to sit here and go, I got to tighten my glutes. I don't want you to tighten anything. Because the minute you do, you're not going to restore. Now start to gently rock forward and back on your roller. All right, so it's a very small range of motion. And again, I now release and let go. What is it that you're holding on to right now? Think about it. Remember, this is for you right now. Whatever that might be, start to work on it. Now, when you're ready, start to float your feet and roll to the knees and then to the hips, but not on the hip itself and or the knees itself. Take a deep breath in here. Inhale, exhale, come forward. Now toe in and now toe out. All right, so you internally rotate, breathe in. Externally rotate, breathe out. Internally rotate, breathe in. Externally rotate, breathe out. One more time, couple more passes here. Internally rotate in and externally rotate out. All right, find a spot and then drop your chest down to your mat and your forehead is on top of your hands. Take a deep breath in, and this is again where you start to set that intention. What is it that I want to let go of right now? Maybe it is that I need more time in my life for this, so I'm going to make time to do this. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Slowly bring yourself up. Now from here, what you're going to do is tuck all 10 toes under again and find yourself in a downward facing dog. All right, so notice already, just from being essentially on the roller for less than about 60 seconds, do you feel better? Do you feel like all of a sudden your range of motion is starting to change? Inhale, lift, and exhale, lower. One more. Lift and lower. And then drop on down. Okay, this time we are going to work on one thigh at a time. So I'm actually going to face you. And we're going to begin with our right knee on the roller, but our left. Now, if you have a large foam roller, by the way, if you feel like you want to, set your adductor on the long roller. Now, on the roller, you can't do this, obviously. But if you have a long roller, you can do it that way. Now, again, as you come forward and as you come back, I want you to internally rotate and then externally rotate. So that means you got to start moving in through your shoulders. So start doing circles. So start to circle the thigh around on the roller. Let's do a few more passes here. Deep breath in and a deep breath out, very last one. And then we just stay there. We let our leg be heavy. This is where a lot of people need to take a break. And I do recommend it because one side or one leg, depending on who you are, is going to be more sensitive than the other. Just stay there. Now start to move off that sensitive area, find a new one. Move back, find a new one. And then just hold, breathe through this. And know that it's going to feel better in a moment. I promise. I absolutely promise. Deep breath in and a deep breath out and release. Good. Let's go to the other side. But what I want you to do is feel your right and feel your left. And you're going to feel how warm it is. All right? So What I like to do on this is, because of the fact that it has a ridge in it, is to allow, the leg to float in the center. But again, a long roller, you're going to get the thigh, the inner thigh, which is sensitive, so careful. So as you start to roll forward and back again, you start to make those circles. You start to make circles in your upper body. And the reason I'm doing it this way is so I can face you. So you circle to the right and to the left so that you're getting different tissue in your quadriceps. Breathe in, breathe out. One more full circle here. And you can do this as long as you want to on your own. But now again, find a sensitive spot and start to breathe into it. We've got certain areas in our body that you might get on an area and you're going to go, oh my God, I've broken into a sweat. Well, what does that tell you? You need it. Deep breath in, deep breath out. And I would recommend going back and doing that again when you have time and you're on your own and it's not a workshop. Now let's place both thighs on top of your foam roller. And now roll back and forth, bend your knees, extend your knees, and you're going to notice that your thighs feel dramatically different. Breathe in and breathe out. Beautiful. And now go ahead and bring it all the way back in. How are we doing, guys? Have a seat. So just in that alone, feel energetically how you feel in your thighs compared to, not necessarily taking this as, how do I feel less pain or whatever, but think of energetically, do you start to feel like almost like your nervous system is starting to calm down a bit because of breathing in and breathing out. Mantras, I am now releasing and letting go. I am releasing the stress in my life. I am, I'm taking time for me today. All right, all those things. I want you to have a seat on your roller. Now, what makes this one unique, obviously, is due to the fact that the ridges are on each side. And what I definitely find that this is definitely more intense is that it sits, basically, when you're sitting on top of this roller, your ischium tuberosities are right on the two ridges. So gives you an opportunity to allow, the fascia, especially when we start to roll, not on the IT band because it's dense for a reason. There's lots of little proprioceptors in that guy. So we don't want to make him mad. So what we want to do though, is we're going to go ahead and find a sweet spot, extend our left leg out, okay? And then I want you, or right leg, excuse me, and come down to your forearm. Now start to reach the left arm up and open up your hip here. Now, as you do, start to roll forward and back so that you're actually, if you lean a little bit into your right, my left, your right, you're going to start to feel that you're working into the gluteus and possibly into your piriformis. Now, the reason I have you in this position is so now that you can reach and expand both legs. And I want you to think about stretching now in through that whole entire front line. Deep breath in, deep breath out. Bring it back in. Now, a lot of people then love to cross over. And if you're on a flat roller, try to be more behind your IT band. But if you're on the roller like you are with me, it's floating in the middle. So going forward and back. So again, you just want to breathe in and breathe out. And now bring it to your center and we'll do the other side. So once again, you start by opening up, coming down to the forearm. Take your time, reach the opposite leg and open. Why? We're getting an amazing lengthening in our hip flexor here, reaching up to the ceiling. Deep breath in and a deep breath out. Bringing it back to your center. And when you're ready, once again, you can cross the leg over if you want. And you want to work on floating your fascia. If you're on that roller, the rolga, in between So again, and I'm going to hang out right here. I've got a really angry piriformis from skiing. So from here, it just feels good for me to just hang out and kind of allow a deep breath in and a deep breath out, and then you come off of it. All right. Whew. Now, let's talk about an alternative to that. Our alternative is our tennis ball. Okay, so I want to give you another idea. But what that means is you getting in a supine position, placing our tennis ball underneath the right glute, and allowing then your right hip to open up. Now, you will immediately feel, the thing is with a tennis ball, I can't physically rub up and down, but I'm going to show you what to do here. But even being here and breathing through very light compression, now, and even going into a spine twist here, going into spine twist with the opposite knee over, because you're adding more body weight, might be too intense. And you're simply hanging here, gently compressing on that area that's very sensitive to the piriformis, and then coming up. And I would just stay there for a while. But what you can do is then turn side, hold onto your tennis ball, and rather than rolling like a foam roller, is rub below your IT band, above the IT band, and then right into the gluteus. And then go ahead and give your bum a little bit of work here. All right, and then rub again. Not as good as a massage therapist, but let me tell you that is an alternative to our rollers, doing this with a tennis ball underneath our gluteus to find our piriformis. Now, let's go ahead and work on our thoracic spine. So here, we're going to take our roller right in between our shoulder blades. Now, this can also be done in a chair, as long as the chair has a hard back to it. All right. What you're going to do here is now bring the soles of your feet together, and I want you to just gently hold onto your head for a moment. And once again, start to go into your deep breathing techniques. Take a full deep breath in and exhale out. And your goal here is to start to allow the thoracic spine to open, and then gently bring the chin into the chest. So keep your eyes closed if you can on this one. And if you're super bendy and flexible, you can go into a really nice spine extension here. But for a lot of people, just being here, and then an alternative is then placing the bender ball underneath the back and then releasing here is an opportunity as well, if you can't go all the way back. A yoga block is similar on this one. But this is one that you're not moving, you're just allowing gentle compression into that connective tissue, and also areas that we hold an exceptional amount of stresses in our back. So this is where you close your eyes. I now release and let go. Breathe in the lavender. Get some more of it if you have it. And now we're going to slowly release into the scapula. So you gently start to laterally flex to your right, and then slowly laterally flex to your left. Very, very slowly. Deep breath in and deep breath out. And if that's too intense for you, just hang out. Just hang out. But you're holding your head, cradling your head. Now let's bring the feet together. We lift, and we've all done this one before. But this is where I want you to think of when you come forward, chin towards chest, as you go back out, eyes to ceiling. Chin to chest for a moment, eyes to ceiling. One more time, chin to chest, and then eyes to ceiling, and then slowly lower your hips down. Great job, guys. Now, from here, slowly come on up. Now, with the Rolga, unlike a flat roller, you can get to your hamstrings. And that's why I love this one, because of the ridges. So hands are behind you, and you just simply let your legs be heavy here. As you float the heels up and back, so as you go forward, toes out, as you come in, toes in. So take a deep breath in, inhale, add a bonus triceps, exhale. So once again, as you slowly move in and out, your hamstrings are getting some real essential work here. So as you toe out and as you toe in, and I like to just say toed out because it feels amazing to me, and then go ahead and release. So you can also place the calf right in the center of a flat roller and or the regular roller. And just by even rocking back and forth, I find I'm more sensitive on the lateral part of the calf, the soleus, is inhale, exhale as you gently rotate from side to side as you press into that outer part of the calf. Now, the other thing that you can do too is obviously roll it, okay? Now, if you wanted more intensity, but again, this is not about, let's clarify. This is not about you going, I got to go to the point of pain. If you have that much pain and you're, biting your lip, then you're not allowing yourself to restore. So this is why you always want to tell your students and clients, if it's that painful, then back off and gently work into the area that needs the attention. All right. Now, the other thing that we can always do, we can do some of these movements for the office, the office jockey. So even by sitting in a desk and doing this, placing our foam roller behind us in a chair, or even taking our tennis ball behind our scapula in a chair and just gently doing the head turning where we squeeze the neck, pretty doggone awesome. All right, the last one I have for you is probably my most favorite, to be honest with you, with all of them. And those of you that have been with me, you've probably done this before, but do it again because it works. We place our right glute on the ball or the pillow while the left one is on the ground. You take your right heel to the earth. All right, this is where I need you to relax. And take your right arm over your head. Now, straighten out the left knee as well, and you're actually on an angle. Now, you want to think about lengthening through the right side body. Take a full deep breath in and a full deep breath out. Flex your feet, point your feet, flex your feet, and point your feet. And let's just do a big stretch here. Oh, now yawn like you're getting out of bed, lengthening through your right side body. Keep breathing here. Keep pointing your toes and feel as though someone is pulling on your big toe and somebody's pulling on your wrist. Big stretcher. Now we're completely relaxed. Just let everything be heavy. Now here comes the magic. Take the ball away. Oh, it's just that hip drops down. Oh my gosh, it's just awesome. All right, the other side. Once again, you reach only the left arm over the head. Left hip is lifted. And I want you to point your toe and I want you to stretch. Feel as though somebody is creating space in between. You're creating space in between your ribs and your hip, becoming taller and longer with each and every breath and more healthy. Breathe in and breathe out. And now release. Take the ball away. Magic happens. Good. All right. So bring your knee in. Now bring your other knee in and just hug your knees into your chest for a nice little back stretch. Then bring your chin to your chest and let your legs go. So in this position, and I'm only going to give you a few suggestions, in Shavasana, you can always take your Rolga, place it behind the neck as a small pillow, or place your pillow here while you are in this position. I'm actually going to come up, but while you are laying down, is what I always recommend is to take a couple minutes a day in a meditated position like this one here, and simply think about a time in your life, like maybe when you were a kid, that life was pure joy and there was no stress and there was no pain. And if you can find that moment while you were here in this moment, and reflect back on it and almost bring those thoughts back into your mind and back into your DNA, it is also part of our restoration process because we do forget, we have a tendency to remember the bad things that happened in our past, but maybe not focus on the good things. So open your eyes and come back into your bodies and come on back to your computer and join me. And I hope that this experience, I realized that it was virtual versus in person, but again, I would love to be able to give this session um, in person in 2022. I'm very lucky that I'm going through an incredible program of Rasha technique of it's almost like quantum physics and healing. And just in the short time that I've been taking this course, is feeling things vibrationally very different. And I think we are in a big shift. And you are in this profession because you enjoy helping others achieve their goals and feel better, just as we do. And with that being said, I'm honored you would join me today. And I can be found at Leslee, Leslee at bendertraining.com. Please send me an email and I would love to hear from you. Again, that is Leslee, Leslee at bendertraining.com. Otherwise, reach out to Functional Aging Institute. They also have my course, I Am Ageless Now. So if you would like more on how to do this with your clients, please join our online course. Have a wonderful day or afternoon or evening, wherever you are in the world. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Thank you for being with me.